This is the oldest creation story in human history. Sumerian clay tablets record. They recount, originally nothing, only darkness and water. That was Mother Namu, an endless, silent sea. From the water's depths, a great mountain rose. These were An and Ki, sky and earth, bound together like lovers. Until Enlil arrived, god of the storm. With whirlwinds, immense power, he pushed the sky upward and fixed earth below. From this separation, light was born, and the first civilization began on earth. We know how Enlil separated earth and sky. But Enlil and the other gods, how were they created? In the beginning, no gods existed. There was only Namu, Mother Sea, who created herself, source of all. From within her, twins were born, An, meaning sky, and Ki, meaning earth. They loved, embraced, sky and earth mated, and poured life's seed, like rain, into Earth's depths. Thus, Mother Earth became pregnant with infant gods. Until one day, Earth split, and three great powers emerged. Enki, wise of the waters, Ninhursag, Mother Nature, and the strongest, Enlil, storm god. Enlil could not bear the confinement, so with immense power, he separated his parents. He lifted sky and fixed earth. When earth and sky separated, a vast wound opened in the earth, a dark, terrifying void. The Sumerians called it Kur. A piece of earth spirit fell into Kur's dark depths. Kur wasn't just a place. It became the universe's first monster. It stirred deep in the earth, a dark spirit, eager to devour all. This was the universe's first threat. To quell this, the gods divided the cosmos among themselves. Each became a king and ascended, becoming king of the distant heavens, an uninvolved overseer of earthly matters. Enlil stayed central, becoming king of wind and earth. All executive power was his. Enki, king of waters, took the hardest task. He descended to tame Kur and find the lost spirit. After Earth split from the sky, 50 nature gods emerged. Gods of writing, grain, memory, and Earth's bounty. Enki, god of fresh waters, built his first temple within them and founded the first divine city, Eridu. Other gods lived on the sacred mound Ekur, meaning mountain house. This was where earth and sky diverged, becoming the city of Nippur. Here the gods began inscribing the Me, the most vital creation then. The Me are universal laws of kingship, war, and marriage. Two gods married, bearing a beautiful goddess daughter, Ninlil. When she grew, her mother warned her, "Daughter, avoid the sacred river. Do not swim there. Enlil's gaze is sharp. If he sees you, he won't restrain himself." Rebellious Ninlil ignored her mother, went to the water's edge, and bathed. Then Enlil, king of gods, saw her. Her beauty captivated him. Thus begins the tale of the first moral law. Enlil sought to mate with Ninlil, but she refused, stating she was too young, needing her parents' consent. Enlil, of boundless power, lost all restraint. He forced himself upon her, an act forbidden by divine law. The 50 great gods convened, deciding, Enlil, having broken the law, must be exiled from Nippur to the underworld. Kur, the king of gods, for the first time, faced justice. Alienated, Enlil journeyed as an outcast to Kur. Ninlil, now pregnant by Enlil, refused to abandon him and followed. Enlil, on his journey, devised another trick. He disguised himself as the underworld's river guardian. Unrecognized, Ninlil mated with him repeatedly. In the underworld, they bore 4 children. The first was Nana, the moon god. Their 3 other children became vital deities. Sumerians believed this explained the moon's night glow. Nana was born in Kur to light the underworld and the night sky. Sumerians had a universal law. One who enters the underworld cannot leave unless replaced. Enlil wanted Nana, the moon god, to light the night sky. But Kur's law forbade it. 3 children, Nergal, Ninazu, Enbilulu, were sacrifices. Born in the underworld, Enlil and Ninlil left them there, so they and Nana could ascend to the sky. When Ninlil and Enlil returned, light appeared, as they brought Nana, the moon. The monstrous spirit Kur, seeing the upper world organized with a moon and law, attacked. Ereshkigal, an original goddess, daughter of earth and fertility, was abducted by Kur. Kur sought not just a maiden, but to shatter stability. Her abduction to the underworld disrupted the gods' order, making Enki consider descending. Enki needed a way to descend into the underworld's waters. Namu, mother goddess of the sea, provided a boat of deep-sea reeds. With it, Enki bravely descended into the underworld's depths, towards a world devoid of light. There, Kur awaited him, not as a common foe, but a monster seeking to devour the water god. A cosmic war began. Kur hurled rock and fire. Enki countered with water. Amidst the darkness, Enki found Ereshkigal. He rescued her from the stony spirit's grasp, drawing her from darkness. But the cosmos had changed. Ereshkigal did not return above. Instead, Enki made her queen of the underworld, to uphold justice in darkness and tame Kur's malevolent spirit. He drew the boundary of life and death. Kur became the realm of the dead. The Great War ended, and the cosmos found peace. After his victory, Enki built an unseen wall and 7 steel gates to form a barrier between the underworld and the surface. The underworld's name changed from Kur to Irkalla, meaning the land of no return. He also appointed Neti, a giant guardian for the 7 gates. Any mortal or god seeking Ereshkigal in the realm of the dead must surrender something at each gate: power, garments, crown. By Ereshkigal's presence, they must be stripped and powerless. In the land of the dead, earthly rank and power are worthless. All are equal before her. The Sumerians called their second generation of gods the Igigi. Numerous and lower in rank than the 50 great Anunnaki. Upon Enki's return to Earth, he commanded them to restore the land and carve river courses. Enki then filled the Tigris and Euphrates with fresh water. Like a great gardener, he transformed the parched land into a green paradise. Thus, the Tigris and Euphrates were sacred to Sumerians, symbolizing Enki's triumph over drought and darkness. Even after Enki filled rivers with water, the earth remained barren. Life awaited a gentle touch to flourish. Enki created Dilmun, a paradise free from age or death. In this paradise, Enki married Ninhursag, goddess of earth. At this union, earth first wore green, and in immortal paradise, Ningal was born. She grew in water's depths, becoming the goddess of reeds, the sacred material Sumerians used for homes, boats, and pens. Nana, the moon god, perpetually circled the sky, lighting the world. Sumerians deemed Nana guardian of time and cosmos. Each night he journeys in a silver chariot. Sky guards open in steel gates. One night, from his chariot, Nana gazed upon earth. His rays found Ningal, her beauty stirring his heart. Nana sought Enki's daughter. Enki agreed. Sumerians didn't just tell tales, they penned life's philosophy. Enki and Ninhursag's marriage united water and earth, creating life and greenery. But Nana and Ningal's marriage united sky and earth, fostering civilization. After Moon, Nana, and Reed, Ningal, united, their union bore sacred twins, Utu, sun god, and Inanna, goddess of Venus and beauty. When the moon god rested at night, his son Utu, the sun, assumed this task. This celestial family needed an earthly home. Nana chose the best site, founded and made it his home. To enrich his city, Nana embarked on a long journey, his boat laden with gifts, past many cities. He reached his father Enlil in Nippur, the religious capital, the holiest city. There, his father bestowed many gifts, with which he made the richest city of the ancient world, and Sumer's political capital. From here, 7 great gods ruled the cosmos. Sky, Enlil; air, Enki; water, Nana; moon, Utu, sun; Inanna, Venus. Sumerian belief states these 7 gods govern the universe. Alongside them were 50 Anunnaki gods, first-generation deities, each overseeing an aspect. The Anunnaki commanded, thousands of Igigi, second-generation gods, obeyed. They dug the Tigris and Euphrates courses, building cities day and night. For 2,500 years, they toiled tirelessly under the oppressive Anunnaki gods, until the lesser gods ceased work, burning all their tools. They marched en masse to Nippur, the gods' capital. Like a rebel army, they besieged Ekur Temple, King Enlil's palace. Enlil awoke, furious, wishing to destroy them all. Enlil resolved to crush the rebellion by force. Other Anunnaki gods disagreed. An, the sky god, descended, urging, "First, let us hear them." After talks, he returned. "They are justified. Their labor is arduous." Enki, god of wisdom, proposed the Igigi rest and create man from clay to bear the heavy burdens. But this clay form needs a soul. They resolved to slay Waila, leader of the rebel gods. Enki mixed his blood with clay, creating humanity. Enki, with Ninursag and other gods, fashioned mankind. They rejoiced, holding a great feast. With shouts of joy and copious wine, Ninursag proclaimed, "I can create varied, imperfect humans." Enki challenged, "For every human you create, I can find a purpose." Ninursag made one blind. Enki made him a musician. Ninursag made one sterile. Enki made her a temple servant. Ninursag made one intersex. Enki made him a king's attendant. They continued until Ninursag admitted defeat. Enki proved human value isn't in their form, but in their assigned role. Hence, Sumerians believed disability wasn't God's punishment, but divine amusement. Humans lived and multiplied, but initially as beasts. Naked, they ate Earth's herbs, drank canal water, and cured no sickness. Enki realized humans, thus, couldn't serve the gods. So he created 7 wise beings, part human, part fish. From the southern Gulf they emerged, sent to cities to teach men city building and civilization. The wisest, Adapa, Enki regarded as his son. One day, in the lower Gulf, Adapa fished from his boat. Suddenly, the south wind, a mighty spirit, blew, capsizing Adapa's boat. Adapa, hurled into the sea, raged, gazing skyward, and cried with magic power, "O south wind, I swear I will break your wings." Sumerian belief. What caused human death? Adapa broke the south wind's wing, halting it for 7 days.
I will not yield to this.
This angered An, the sky god. His servants told him, Adapa broke its wings. An demanded the culprit's assent to his sky realm. Enki, Adapa's creator and humanity's friend, to wear mourning clothes before An and be wary. Avoid heaven's food and drink, for it's death's sustenance, and An is enraged. Adapa reached heaven's guardians, who asked about his attire. He replied, he was in mourning. This softened their hearts, prompting intercession with An, the sky god, to intercede and seek mercy for him. An, seeing Adapa's courage and wisdom, reconsidered and decided to grant him immortality. When offered immortality's food, he recalled Enki's words and refused. Believing it a death plot, An laughed, explaining Enki's deception. It was immortality's food. Enki never wanted humans immortal. Eridu, Enki's city, was the hub of civilization and knowledge. The 103 Mi laws were safeguarded by Enki. Meanwhile, Inanna, goddess of beauty, and Venus ruled Uruk. Uruk was new. Inanna wanted to make her city the world's greatest, but she needed the Mi. She made a bold decision: visit her great-grandfather, Enki, in Eridu, and seize his secrets. Inanna reached Eridu. To greet his granddaughter, Enki ordered a grand feast. They sat, drinking beer. Enki gradually grew drunk. Inanna then demanded the laws, and a drunken Enki bestowed all Mi upon her. He gave her civilization's crown, tablets, agriculture, and building secrets. Inanna, with the laws, fled by boat to Uruk. Forewarned Adapa, Enki awoke to find civilization's treasury empty. He regretted it, dispatching sea demons to halt her boat. But Inanna escaped them. Inanna returned to Uruk, greeted joyfully by the people. She established civilization's principles in Uruk. Thus, power shifted from Eridu to Uruk. This legend is not mere story, but Sumerian historical narrative detailing civilization's prehistoric center shift. How did Sumerians perceive their civilization? Sumerians saw kingship as divine, not human. A divine gift descended from heaven to represent gods and order human life. Kingship descended from heaven, beginning in Eridu. Alulim, first king, ruled for 28,800 years. Adapa, the first wise human, advised him, teaching civilization. Sumerians believed kings lived long lives. Raised by gods, they held absolute power. Thus, 8 kings ruled 5 mythical cities. For 240,000 years before the Great Flood, agriculture founded these cities. But how, per Sumerian belief, did agriculture originate? Anunnaki gods first created 2 goddess sisters for sustenance. Ashnan, grain and bread. Lahar, sheep and cattle. Grain and animals depleted, but hunger remained. By Enki's decree, these goddesses descended to earth, teaching humans to till land, yield more wheat, make wheat into flour and bread, and raise livestock. Humans got food. What about clothing? This relates to Utu, weaving goddess, distinct from the sun god. To shield from cold and sun, Enki tasked her to clothe humans. She observed spiders in nature, how they meticulously weave webs, intertwine threads. Thus, the first weaving inspiration came from spiders. Enki found flax, brought it to Utu to clothe humans, distinguishing them from animals. Regarding animal domestication, Sumerians believed each animal first had a heavenly prototype. Then, to reflect divine power, a special animal was brought to earth and bred. The cow symbolized motherhood and generosity. The serpent, wisdom and immortality. The bull, masculinity and fertility. Thus, animals were sacred to Sumerians. Per discovered historical texts, oxen used in agriculture. Their owner must love, sing to, and feed them. What evil spirits did Sumerians believe in? We mentioned the south wind spirit, but it wasn't the only evil one. 7 monstrous spirits sought to disrupt cosmic balance. Sumerians called them Imunbi, or the 7. Each appeared as a natural phenomenon or fierce animal, like storms, hurricanes, leopards, snakes, and lions. They sprang from the spilled seed of sky god Anu, but remained beyond divine control. One day, these 7 forces decided to rise from Earth's depths and overthrow the gods. They first confronted the sun, storm, and beauty gods. These gods couldn't defend themselves and retreated. Their next target, Nana, the moon god. The 7 spirits encircled Nana, enveloping him in darkness. This caused the lunar eclipse. The people of Ur, Nana's main temple city, were terrified, wailing and beating drums collectively. When Enlil witnessed this chaos, he knew not how to face these 7 forces, as they were part of his father Anu's nature. But Enki, Eridu's god of wisdom, heard the turmoil, understanding he must act. Enki summoned his son Asaluhi, sending him to battle the 7 spirits. He reached the heavens, broke the moon's siege, and Nana's light returned to the sky. For Sumerians, this wasn't mere myth, but their explanation for lunar eclipses and a tradition where, during an eclipse, they poured into streets, wailing, beating drums and tambourines to awaken Asaluhi and drive away the evil spirits besieging the moon. How was the Great Flood first mentioned? After creating humans, cities filled up and the population reached its peak. Human noise and chaos annoyed Enlil, the king of gods. The great gods met in heaven and made a grim ruling. Mankind must be wiped off, the earth by a massive flood. The gods swore to keep this secret, but Enki, the wise god and friend of man, couldn't bear to see his creations perish. Enki couldn't break his oath to warn anyone, so he used a clever trick. Then the king of Shurupak, Ziusudra, who always obeyed the gods, was in the temple. Enki hid behind a wall and spoke to it just loud enough. Wall, listen. Fence, hear me. A flood will wipe out all cities. This is the god's final decree. Ziusudra knew Enki meant for him to leave his palace and build a huge ark. He took a pair of every animal and a master of every trade. When the day came, the sky darkened, rain fell, and seas swelled. For 7 days and nights, storms and gales raged together. The flood drowned the cities. Only Ziusudra's ark rode the high waves. After 7 days, the sea calmed. The sun god appeared, shining on earth. Ziusudra opened his window and bowed down. He stepped out and made an offering to the gods. When Enlil saw survivors, he was furious, but Enki calmed him, explaining that Ziusudra's wisdom saved him. Finally, Enlil relented, took Ziusudra's hand, and gave him a grand gift: eternal life. The gods moved him and his wife to Dilmun to live forever as immortal humans. To control population, they also decreed human lifespans stay under 100 years. After the Great Flood ended, the waters receded. Civilization started from scratch. Kingship descended from heaven again, this time to Kish, built by King Etana, bringing peace to his people. Etana had a deep sorrow. He was growing old and had no child. He feared that after his death, the throne would be empty and chaos would return. His only hope was the gods. He needed the plant of birth, which was not on earth, but in the highest heaven. Meanwhile, outside Kish, at a mountain's base, stood a tree marking a sacred pact. A snake lived at its base, and an eagle at its top. They swore to the sun god Utu to be friends and protect each other's young. But the eagle betrayed. One day, while the snake hunted, the eagle ate its young. When the snake returned and saw this, it complained to Utu. He ordered it to hide, and when the eagle came down, to strike it, break its wings, and throw it in a pit. The eagle, king of birds, was now trapped in a pit, awaiting death. King Etana, who constantly prayed for a child, finally got an answer from Utu. He told him, go to that pit in the mountain. An eagle is there. Save it, and it will show you heaven. Etana found and healed the eagle until it regained strength. As a reward for saving it, the eagle offered to grant any request. Etana said, I want to fly to heaven for the plant of birth. The eagle put Etana on its back, and they soared skyward, until Earth looked like a small hill, and seas like a stream. They rose higher until Earth was like a small dough ball, finally soaring so high that Earth vanished. Reaching Heaven's Gate, Etana gets scared and asks to return. Here the clay tablet is broken, It is clear if Etana succeeded or not. But another tablet, the King List, tells us the ending. Yes, Etana succeeded, because after him, his son, Bale, takes the throne. This was the story of the king, who, for his lineage, crossed Earth's bounds to reach heaven. How was writing created for the first time? In the city of Uruk, there was a king named Enmerkar. He wanted to build a great temple for the goddess of beauty Inanna, but Uruk had neither precious stones nor gold. Rather, these were in the mountainous land of Arata. Enmerkar sent an envoy to the king of Arata and asked him for gold and silver. The king of Arata did not want to submit. He set an impossible condition and said, "I will send them when you send me grain. But it must not be in a sack nor in a net, and it must contain all kinds of plants together." And Merkar thought and gave an order for the grain to be soaked until it sprouts, and their roots intertwine until the grain became like a large unified carpet, which needed no sack or net for transport. When the king of Arata saw this, he was amazed but still did not agree. He kept setting impossible conditions, and Uruk's king fulfilled them. So the conflict lasted for many years. The envoy constantly traveled between the two cities, and Merkar's messages became so long that the envoy could no longer memorize them. To solve this, Enmerkar did something that changed the world. He brought a piece of clay and engraved his words on it, which became the first cuneiform writing in history. When the king of Arata saw this just by looking at the clay tablet, the envoy understood and spoke, making him shocked. But what shocked him even more was that the message was a declaration of war. Uruk's army marched towards Arata, led by King Enmerkar on a difficult path. Lugalbanda, who was one of the commanders, fell severely ill. The soldiers thought he would die, so they left him in a cave in the Hurum Mountains. Lugalbanda was left alone, but he did not despair. He prayed to the sun god Utu, and in a dream was commanded to sacrifice a ram that descended to him from the sky. Lugalbanda regained his health and wanted to rejoin the army, but the path was impossible and he was stuck in the rugged mountains for years, until one day he found the nest of a bird named Anzu, that mythical creature that everyone feared. When the mother bird was away, he decorated the nest for the chicks and gave them delicious food and meat when Anzu returned and saw this. He wanted to reward him, Lugalbanda said. "I want my legs to be as fast as lightning and never tire." Anzu granted his request, and Lugalbanda traveled through the mountains like a lightning beam. In just one day, he reached the army, who thought he was dead. They had laid siege to the city of Arata for years without success. The army had grown desperate behind the walls of Arata. King Enmerkar needed the advice of Uruk's patron goddess Inanna. Lugalbanda returned to Uruk with his mythical speed and brought back Inanna's message. They must catch a special fish in the waters of Arata and sacrifice it. In the end, Arata and Uruk did not fight. When the king of Arata saw that Uruk had a wise king and a commander with mythical speed, his heart softened and he became Uruk's ally. He sent precious stones and gold, and in return they learned science, writing, and the inventions of Uruk. How were the seasons created? Inanna, goddess of beauty, decides to marry. Enkimdu, the agriculture god and Enki's son, competed for her heart against Dumuzi, the shepherd king. Influenced by her brother Utu, the sun god, she chose Dumuzi after he proved animal products are more important than crops. Their marriage, for the Sumerians, became the spring festival and Sumerian New Year, which coincides with today's Nowruz. Later, Inanna, the goddess of beauty, who had great power on earth, sets her sights on the underworld, going there to conquer it. But as mentioned before, to reach Ereshkigal, the underworld goddess, she must pass 7 gates. At each gate, Neti, the god, took part of her crown and clothes. So when she reached Ereshkigal, Inanna was left naked and powerless. Ereshkigal gave her the look of death and killed her. She hung her corpse on a hook in the underworld. After 3 days on Earth, Inanna's loyal minister, Ninshubur, begged the gods to help bring Inanna back, but they refused to meddle in the underworld. Enki became the savior and created 2 mythical beings who felt no pain. They went down and revived Inanna, but the underworld's law is absolute. No one leaves without leaving a replacement. Inanna, with a group of fierce demons, returned to Earth to find a substitute. First, they visited her minister and other gods, finding them in mourning clothes, grieving for her. But when they reached Dumuzi, her husband, he was in royal robes, drinking wine, busy enjoying his life. Inanna said in anger, "Take him and throw him into the underworld." Dumuzi's death was a day of mourning. People poured into the streets and remembered him with tears and wailing. Dumuzi's sister, Geshtinanna, goddess of fruits, tearfully begged Inanna to spare her brother. Seeing her loyalty, Inanna proposed, sharing Dumuzi's punishment, and she agreed. So every year, Dumuzi spends 6 months in the underworld. Then he emerges, and for the next 6 months, his sister takes his place. Therefore, the Sumerians believed, when Dumuzi dies, summer and autumn arrive. Pastures for livestock diminish, while fruits are harvested. But when Geshtinanna dies and Dumuzi returns, pastures grow, animals breed, and fruits vanish. That's why the first summer month is Tammuz, which is Dumuzi's name in Akkadian. How the Zagros mountain range was formed. The Anzu bird we mentioned earlier was the servant of Enlil, the king of gods. One day, while Enlil was bathing, Anzu betrayed him and stole the most sacred thing and fled, the Tablet of Destinies, which whoever possessed this tablet could rule the universe. But now it was in dangerous hands. The gods were terrified and no one dared to face him. But Ninurta, the son of Enlil, who was the strongest warrior and also the god of war, possessed a mythical weapon named Sharur, a mace that could fly, speak, and give him information. He volunteered to fight Anzu. He reached Anzu in his chariot and shot an arrow at him. But Anzu, by the power of the tablet, shouted and reversed time. The bow and arrow turned back into trees in the forest and reeds. Ninurta was shocked. He could not harm him. Here his mace Sharur flew to the god of wisdom Enki and consulted him. Enki said, "Let Ninurta split his arrow into 2 parts, one part to strike his wings and the other his mouth, so he can neither raise the tablets nor speak." With this strategy, Ninurta broke Anzu's wings and killed him, and retrieved the Tablet of Destinies. Peace had not yet returned. A terrifying monster emerged from the mountains named Asag. This monster created an army of stone. The stones came to life and became soldiers. Asag dried up the river waters with his extreme heat, and the fishes boiled in his heat. Ninurta fought a bloody battle and killed Asag. Then he piled up Asag and his stones and created the Zagros mountain range from them, so the rivers would not scatter and only flow into the plains of Sumer. Then he sat and judged the stones one by one. He cursed the fighting stones to be broken forever, cut and placed under the feet of humans, and he turned the innocent stones into precious stones and gems. Ninurta did not stop at this, killed many other monsters and made them medals for his chariot. After all this success, Ninurta became arrogant. He did not return the Tablet of Destinies to his father. He rode his terrifying chariot towards the city of Nippur, started threatening, and the other gods locked their doors in fear. Ninurta thought he should now become the absolute king of the universe. Then he wanted to go to the city of Eridu to Enki to show him his power too. Enki knew he could not match Ninurta's strength, so he decided to fight him with wisdom. Enki created a giant turtle from the mud of his palace's sea and hid the turtle at the bottom of the sea. When Ninurta stepped arrogantly into Enki's palace, the turtle grabbed Ninurta's leg from beneath the sea with its strength and pulled him down. Ninurta struck the turtle with his weapon Sharur, but could not escape from it. Enki came to the water's edge and said to him mockingly, "O hero who smashed mountains and killed monsters, how is it that you cannot free yourself from this weak turtle now? Where is your power?" Ninurta returned the Tablet of Destinies and his rebellion failed, and he learned a lesson. Without wisdom, physical strength is nothing. In the Sumerian religion, man could not directly speak with the great Anunnaki gods. Therefore, everyone had their own specific god, which often was the spirit of their ancestors, after their death to deliver their prayers and sacrifices to the great gods. An example of this relationship appears in the story of a wise and wealthy man who, despite his complete adherence to the laws of the gods and continuous worship of his specific god, suddenly his luck turns, his wealth burns, his children die one after another, his friends become enemies, and he himself catches a deadly skin disease. This man, without complaining, asks for mercy with a broken heart and admits that no human is without sin. This sincerity ensures that through his specific god, his prayers reach Enlil, the king of the gods. His heart softens and he makes him again the owner of health and wealth and children. In this era, the world had one language when Enki saw that all humans with one language and together only praise and worship Enlil. He became jealous and spread a curse that caused the scattering of languages and the creation of different languages. Sumerians believed the god of medicine and pharmacy was a god named Ningishzida, who holds a staff in his statues, around which two snakes are intertwined, which to this day has become the symbol of medicine. That god, along with Dumuzi, were the two main gods of the gates of heaven, which we mentioned in the story of Adapa. That staff around which the two snakes are intertwined was the symbol of balance for the Sumerians. One snake was the symbol of poison, and the other snake was the symbol of medicine. For the Sumerians, disease was not only for humans but also affected the gods. In the paradise of Dilmun, the goddess of nature, Ninhursag, grows 8 rare plants and forbids anyone from approaching them but Enki due to his great desire for knowledge. With the help of his loyal minister, Isimud pulls out the 8 plants and eats them. When Ninhursag sees that the effort of several years has been eaten by Enki, she becomes angry and curses Enki. This causes the 8 plants to infect 8 organs of Enki with 8 different diseases. Enki, who is a great god before the eyes of the other gods, begins to decay and wither. The gods become sad because if Enki dies, the system of water and wisdom in the world will be destroyed. So they persuade Ninhursag to lift the curse, and for each organ a new god is created. Also from Enki's ribs, a goddess named Ninti is created. The Sumerians worshipped all the gods, but they believed that every Sumerian city was the residence of a specific god. However, Enlil was the chief of all gods, and Nippur was their most sacred city. In the spring festival every year, from all the cities the kings and the people of Sumer for pilgrimage would head to this city and sacrificed in the Ikur temple. Only in this city was the crown placed on the king of all the cities. Despite the shared language and religion and culture of the Sumerians, they were not within a unified state. Rather, each city for itself was an independent state and had a separate king, which means a city-state system. The Sumerians believed that the gods came from the high mountains. Since Mesopotamia was a flat plain, they built the ziggurat as an artificial mountain to be a bridge between man and the gods. It was seen as a ladder from which the gods descended. Among the people, Sumerian ziggurats were the center and heart of the city. They were not only temples, but rather played a role as a main political and administrative base. At the same time, they were an economic center for collecting taxes and grain, and they were a scientific center for developing astronomy and schools of cuneiform writing. Also, due to their height, they were used as a strategic refuge to protect people from the danger of floods. There, the sacred marriage performance annually between the king of the city and the great priestess of the temple was performed. The political relationship between the city-states had its ups and downs. Sometimes they fought civil wars for many years, and sometimes during external threats, everyone united and faced the external enemy. Through myths, they gave legitimacy to their wars. For example, they believed the war between the cities of Umma and Lagash was a war between god Ningirsu and goddess Ninhursag. Besides the places, every Sumerian god had their own specific month. This helped in determining the months of grain and harvesting crops. Also in that month, the Sumerians would visit the city dedicated to that god and believed that in that month, the main destiny is in the hands of that god. For the first time, they divided the year into 12 months and divided hours and minutes into 60 and made the circle 360 degrees, which later became the foundation for horoscopes and astrology. Socially as well, it strengthened the relationship between cities through religious journeys and commercial exchange in different seasons. The Sumerians were the inventors of writing and the wheel and the chariot, the first parliament in history they invented, which consisted of the Council of Elders and the Wise, along with the Youth Council, meaning the warriors. They wrote the first law in history, where most of the punishments consisted of fines and financial penalties, unlike the laws that followed them, which included killing, amputation, and violence. They continued for a period of 1,200 years in the city-state system. After this period, the continuous migration of the Akkadians from the south and west of Mesopotamia caused a demographic change and the decrease of the Sumerian population in the region. Later, for only a period of 25 years, most of the Sumerian cities managed to remain within a unified state, which was ruled by King Lugal-Zagassi until a massive attack was launched against them by the Akkadians. Here the first Sumerian era ends. Wait for the myths of Akkadi,